Every club has its legends. The Lockyers, the Langers, the Webkes, the Tallises, the guys who make the highlight reel, the documentaries, the statues at the front of the stadium. Broncos fans know something else. There's another type of hero, the cult hero. The battler, the oddball, the bloke who looks like he's run onto the field straight from his shift at the server. The one who gets remembered not for the trophy cabinet, but for their quirks, their memes, and the love of the fans.
Old Skool Broncos, yeah!
Welcome back to the Old Skool Broncos Podcast, where we take a little deeper look at all things Brisbane Broncos from a fan's perspective. Today, we're diving deep into some of the unusual cult heroes of the Brisbane Broncos. These are the guys only true Broncos tragics remember, and we love them for it. Let's start with Scott Mento. Now, there are a lot of players in Broncos history, but only one has ever been accused of being Wayne Bennett's long-lost love child, and that's Minto. Gangly, awkward, tall but somehow still fragile looking, he had the exact same head shape as Wayne. Fans used to joke that Wayne must have cloned himself, stretched him out a bit and thrown him on the wing. But here's the thing, Minto wasn't just a lookalike gag. He had moments, big ones. His Golden Point try against the Storm in 2003 is folklore. It wasn't Darren Lockyer sliding over the line. It wasn't Justin Hodges with a brilliant flick pass. It was Scott Mento, arms out like an aeroplane, taking off like he'd just won the grand final. That celebration alone locked him in as a cult figure. And when he retired, the internet, in the days before memes were even memes, fired up the Scott Mento appreciation page. That page had thousands of followers, all just celebrating this bloke who looked like he shouldn't be there, but somehow was. Minto is proof that you don't need to be great to be loved, you just need to be unforgettable. You can see his statue in the Caxton Hotel today, if there's any ever doubt of that. Next up, Leon Bott. Now, if Minto was gangly and awkward, Bott was the complete opposite. Compact, explosive, like a firecracker with legs. He came in hot in 2005, scored 13 tries, and suddenly we were all saying, is this the next Wendell Sailor? He was the little rocket, built like a fridge, but fast as lightning. And the fans loved it. They even made up his own chant, Leon Bott, Bott, Bott. It used to echo out of the Suncorp Stadium stands and around pubs on Caxton Street. He was a fan favourite straight away. The problem was, like so many cult heroes, his career burned bright and then fizzled out just as quickly. Injuries, form, and the emergence of other outside backs saw him fade from first grade. But for that one glorious season, Bott was electric. And that's what makes him a cult hero. He was the shooting star. Blink and you missed him, but you never forgot him. Now let's wind back to the 90s and look at John Plath. Plathy is one of the original Broncos cult heroes. He played 149 games, but here's the kicker. He was hardly ever a starter. He was Wayne Bennett's secret weapon, the ultimate super sub before the phrase was even a thing. Hooker, yep. Halfback, yep. Back row, sure. Need a bloke to just come in and fill a gap? Plathy's your man. He's the Broncos' Swiss Army knife. Fans loved him because he wasn't about flair or highlights. He was all about effort. He wasn't Alan Langer, but he'd come off the bench and keep things steady. He wasn't Steve Renouf, but he'd put his body on the line. And most importantly, he was there for the golden era. Plath collected 4 premiership rings across the 90s, even if he wasn't the superstar in the team photos. For the diehards, he's a symbol of those championship teams. The bloke who never whinged, never sulked, just did a job. And speaking of the early days, you can't forget Brett Plowman. Plowman was a winger in the late 80s and early 90s. And while he might not have the highlight reel of Hancock or Khan, he was loved by fans because he was one of those reliable battlers who just showed up. And let's be real, the name Plowman, it's just perfect. It sounds like a bloke who's rolled out of the paddock, wiped the dirt off his boots, and run straight onto Lang Park. Fans connected with him, he felt like one of us. Big and fast when most wingers look like muscly touch judges. He's the kind of guy you'd put in the same sentence as hard worker and no nonsense. And sometimes, that's all it takes to become a cult hero. Now on to one of my favourites, Nick Kenny. Kenny was a prop in the mid-2000s, but here's the thing, he was small. Not Payne Haas sized, not Shane Webcke sized, he was undersized for a front rower, and yet he never shirked the work. He churned through the hit-ups, tackled everything that moved, and kept turning up every week. What made him even more of a cult figure was his day job. Kenny was a qualified physiotherapist, so the joke was always he'd belt you in a tackle, then strap your ankle after the game. Fans adored him because he wasn't the biggest, but he outworked plenty of blokes who were. He was one of those blokes that came into the team when our talent was quite low. He made a name for himself. Kenny became the classic Broncos battler, not the star, just a hard-working, smart and respected prop who embodied the no ego, all effort spirit. And finally, the modern day cult hero, Gehamat Shibasaki. Now, Shiba hasn't been known for his silky skills, but he has got a few things going for him. Effort, size, speed, and an absolute belter of a goatee. That goatee has become a movement this year. Fans grew them in his honour, even players joined in. Ben Hunt himself sprouted one in solidarity. It was Shiba's army, and for a moment, when he made his Origin debut, the Shiba goatee was all the rage. He's been a journeyman of the NRL and has finally found his place after having one last crack. He's holding up the left edge for the Broncos this year nicely, and he's made that number 4 jersey his own. So yeah, the statues outside Suncorp will always belong to the Lockyers, the Langers and the Lewises. But for the true fans, the ones who sit through the cold winter nights, who remember the weird games and the forgotten seasons, there's always a special place in their heart for the cult heroes. They might not be legends of the game, but they're legends of our memories. And in a way, that's even better. So who have I missed? There have got to be many more out there that I haven't mentioned. Let me know in the comments. That's it for this one. Remember to like, share and subscribe. This is the Old Skool Broncos Podcast. Let's go, Broncos.